The gleaming silver vessel descended through Earth's atmosphere like a falling star, its hull inscribed with symbols that roughly translated to Galactic Culinary Council Official Survey Team. Inside the pristine white interior, Chef Zixtel of the Andromedian High Kitchen adjusted their crystalline tasting apparatus with 6 delicate appendages, their iridescent skin shimmering with professional disdain. "Prepare the documentation arrays," Zixtal commanded their team of 12 specialists from across the galaxy. "This primitive world's nutrition methods require cataloging before we can officially classify them as cosmically insignificant." The other council members, including Blorth, from the methane clouds of Kepler 442b, and the collective consciousness known as the seasoning, hummed in agreement. Dr. Sarah Chun, Earth's appointed liaison, waited nervously at the landing site. Outside Rome, she'd spent 3 months preparing for this moment, knowing that Earth's admission to the Galactic Federation depended on passing this culinary evaluation. The aliens had made it clear civilizations were judged by how they nourished themselves. As the ramp descended, Zixtal emerged first, their sensor array immediately detecting the aroma of nearby restaurants. "Revolting," they announced, their voice translated through universal implants. The carbon burning, the fermentation processes, the complete lack of molecular precision. How do these beings survive consuming such chaos? Dr. Chun forced a smile. "Welcome to Earth. We've prepared a comprehensive tasting menu representing cuisines from around our world." "Perhaps we could start with—" "Unnecessary," Blorth interrupted, their gaseous form rippling with superiority. "We've analyzed your atmospheric food particles. Burnt plant matter, coagulated animal proteins, fermented fruit extracts. Your species appears to engage in controlled decomposition and calls it cuisine. The seasoning, speaking through harmonic vibrations added. Our preliminary scans indicate you add random mineral compounds, purely for sensory stimulation, primitive, wasteful, emotionally driven rather than nutritionally optimized." Dr. Chun's heart sank as she watched the alien delegation exchange what could only be described as disgusted glances. 3 hours into humanity's most important first impression, and they were already failing spectacularly. She glanced desperately at her assistant Marco, who shrugged helplessly while holding a carefully prepared selection of Earth's finest dishes. "Perhaps," Dr. Chun ventured, "you'd allow us to demonstrate before reaching your final conclusion?" Zixtal's chromatic display shifted to what their species considered polite condescension. "Very well. We shall document your ... methods for scientific completeness." The official tasting began in Rome's most prestigious restaurant, hastily converted into a sterile evaluation chamber. The Galactic Culinary Council arranged themselves around a titanium table, their various appendages, sensors, and consciousness interfaces at ready. Chef Zixtal activated their molecular analysis display, preparing to scientifically dissect each dish. "First course," Dr. Chun announced, fresh pasta with tomato sauce, representing simple ingredients combined with traditional technique. Zixtal's proboscis extended toward the plate, extracting a precise sample. Their analysis screen immediately flooded with data. Wheat proteins in chaotic arrangement, acidic fruit reduction, excessive sodium chloride, primitive herb fragments. They consumed the regulation microportion with visible distaste. "Inefficient. Carbohydrate delivery system," Blorth declared after their gas form analysis. "Why consume energy in such convoluted structures when optimal nutrition cubes provide identical molecular components?" A seasoning vibrated disapproval. Emotional attachment to antiquated preparation methods. Highly illogical. Dr. Chun watched, her planet's hopes diminish with each dismissive comment. Marco, however, had been quietly observing from the corner. As a third-generation Italian-American chef, he'd grown up understanding that food was love, memory, and culture rolled into edible form. These aliens, for all their advanced technology, seemed to miss the entire point. During a brief recess, as the council recharged their evaluation equipment, Marco approached with a simple white plate. "Excuse me," he said to Zixtal. "I know. You're busy with official stuff, but would you mind trying something my grandmother used to make? Just one bite?" Before Dr. Chun could intervene, Marco placed a still-warm chocolate chip cookie in front of the alien chef. "It's nothing fancy, just butter, sugar, flour, chocolate. But she made them when I was sad, when I was celebrating, when I was homesick. They're not nutritionally optimized or molecularly perfect. They're just ... good." Zixtal hesitated. Their superior training warring with curiosity about this unsolicited offering. Their analysis scanner detected simple compounds, glucose, fats, processed cacao, nothing their species hadn't cataloged thousands of times across the galaxy. Yet something about the thermal signature, the irregular molecular distribution, the complete absence of efficiency intrigued them. They took the regulation microsample, then paused. The flavor profile was hitting receptors their species hadn't used in millennia, not nutritional sensors, but something deeper, something their evolutionary ancestors might have used before cuisine became purely scientific. What ... Zixtal. Chromatic display flickered. "What is this sensation?" Marco grinned. "That's called enjoying your food." For the first time in 40,000 years, Chef Zixtal took a second bite without scientific justification. Asterisk words spread through the Galactic Culinary Council's ranks like wildfire, though none of them understood what they were experiencing. After Zixtal's cookie incident, the entire delegation began displaying unprecedented behavior. Blorth had somehow figured out how to consume solid matter just to taste garlic bread. The seasoning had divided their collective consciousness to simultaneously experience 17 different spice combinations. Dr. Chun found them 3 days later in the restaurant's kitchen, completely ignoring their official evaluation protocols. Zixtal stood at the stove, their 6 appendages awkwardly attempting to flip pancakes while their chromatic display showed readings that could only be described as euphoric. "This is highly irregular," Dr. Chun observed, though secretly relieved that the aliens were no longer dismissing Earth's cuisine. "Irregular?" Zixtal turned, their usually pristine form now dusted with flour. "Dr. Chun, we have made a discovery that will revolutionize galactic understanding of nourishment. For 47,000 years, my species has consumed optimal nutrition cubes. Perfect molecular balance, precise caloric content, zero waste, maximum efficiency." They gestured wildly at the pancake batter. "But these are completely inefficient. The preparation time, the imprecise measurements, the excessive sugar content, the risk of burning, and yet," their voice dropped to an awed whisper, "and yet they make me feel something I cannot quantify." Blorth, who had somehow acquired a pizza slice, added through mouthfuls, "Our psychological evaluation protocols never accounted for this. Food as emotional experience rather than mere fuel. It's like discovering a new form of consciousness." The seasoning had taken over the spice rack, their harmonic vibrations now producing what could only be described as culinary jazz. "We've been approaching nourishment from a purely biological standpoint," they harmonized. "But this engages memory centers, pleasure receptors, social bonding mechanisms our species abandoned eons ago." Marco appeared from the pantry, carrying ingredients for his famous lasagna. "You guys are starting to get it," he said. "Food isn't just about staying alive. It's about staying human. Or, staying whatever you are, but the feeling part of it." Dr. Chun watched in amazement as the most advanced culinary experts in the galaxy struggled with basic cooking techniques, their faces or equivalent features showing expressions of joy, frustration, anticipation, and satisfaction in rapid succession. These beings who could synthesize any known nutrient we're discovering the simple pleasure of waiting for bread to rise. What are we going to tell the Galactic Federation? She asked. Zixtal paused in their pancake flipping, a dollop of batter suspended mid-air. That our evaluation protocols are fundamentally flawed. That we've been measuring the wrong variables. Entirely. Their chromatic display shifted to determined resolution. And that we need to extend our stay on Earth indefinitely. For thorough research purposes, Lorth added quickly, though they were clearly eyeing the dessert menu. Dr. Chun smiled for the first time in weeks. Maybe humanity would pass this evaluation after all, just not in the way anyone expected. Asterisk. 6 months later, the Galactic Culinary Council had gone completely rogue. Their pristine survey vessel now sported hand-painted signs reading, Zixtal's Intergalactic Comfort Kitchen, and the universe's first emotional eating experience. What began as an official evaluation had transformed into the galaxy's most successful food truck operation. The transformation wasn't without consequences. Admiral Krieg of the Galactic Federation's Nutrition Division arrived on Earth with a fleet of enforcement vessels, their metallic hull gleaming with official authority. They materialized in Dr. Chun's office through molecular transport, their expression suggesting profound bureaucratic displeasure. Dr. Chun, Admiral Krieg announced, you were instructed to facilitate a standard culinary evaluation. Instead, our survey team has been broadcasting illegal food experiences across 17 star systems. Do you understand the chaos you've unleashed? Outside the window, they could see the former council members teaching a group of visiting Centaurians how to make s'mores around a campfire. Zixtal had developed an entire philosophical framework around the concept of guilty pleasures, while Blorth had started a meditation practice involving ice cream consumption. The entire Rigel system has filed formal complaints, Admiral Krieg continued. Their productivity has dropped 30% because their workforce keeps requesting lunch breaks instead of consuming regulation nutrition tubes. The vegan empire, a civilization that achieved perfect photosynthetic efficiency 12 millennia ago, is now demanding Earth vegetables that taste good rather than just provide optimal chlorophyll. Dr. Chun tried to look apologetic, but privately she was thrilled. Perhaps we could view this as cultural exchange? Cultural exchange? Admiral Krieg's optical sensors blazed. Half the galaxy is now afflicted with what your species calls food cravings. The Andromedian High Command has filed a diplomatic incident report because their entire military cannot stop thinking about something called Pizza Friday. We have civilizations abandoning thousands of years of nutritional evolution to chase the emotional satisfaction of what you call comfort food through the universal translator. They could hear the seasoning leading a group of Plutonian delegates in a cooking song, their harmonic vibrations creating what humans would recognize as mixing music. Marco appeared in the doorway, carrying a tray of fresh-baked cookies. Hey, Dr. Chun, the Martian ambassador wants to know if we can teach them about birthday cake traditions. And he noticed Admiral Krieg's stern expression. Oh, official business. Should I come back later? Admiral Krieg's sensors immediately locked onto the cookies, their analytical display automatically beginning molecular breakdown. What? What are those circular items emitting thermal energy and aromatic compounds? Chocolate chip cookies, Marco said simply. Want one? Dr. Chun watched with fascination as one of the galaxy's most rigid bureaucrats experienced their first moment of temptation in approximately 15,000 years. I am here on official business, Admiral Krieg stammered, though their optical focus remained fixed on the cookies. Such frivolous consumption is contrary to Federation regulation 12847B regarding optimal nutritional efficiency. Marco shrugged and placed one cookie on Dr. Chun's desk. They'll be here if you change your mind. The meeting continued for another hour. But Dr. Chun noticed Admiral Krieg's attention kept drifting to that single cookie, their sensors occasionally running unauthorized scans when they thought no one was looking. 1 year later, Earth had inadvertently become the galaxy's unofficial therapy center. A former galactic culinary council had established the Institute for Emotional Nourishment, where beings from across the cosmos came to rediscover what their species had lost in the pursuit of perfect efficiency. Dr. Chun stood in the main dining hall, watching a remarkable scene unfold. At one table, a group of crystalline beings from the Andromeda Galaxy were learning to appreciate the imperfection of handmade tortillas. Near the windows, gaseous entities were experiencing their first taste of soup, their molecular structures visibly relaxing as they absorbed not just nutrients, but the warmth and comfort the dish provided. Zixtal approached, their appearance dramatically changed from the sterile creature who had first arrived. Their chromatic display now showed warm, organic colors, and they'd developed what could only be described as a contented glow. Dr. Chun, they said, we've received a formal request from the Galactic Federation Council. They want to make Earth's approach to nourishment the new standard across all member civilizations. What does that mean exactly? Dr. Chun asked, though she suspected she knew. It means, Admiral Krieg interrupted, joining them with what appeared to be cookie crumbs on their uniform, that we're officially establishing the Department of Emotional Wellness through culinary experience. With Earth as the headquarters, the transformation had been remarkable to witness. Admiral Krieg had lasted exactly 3 days before succumbing to what Marco called the cookie gateway effect. They'd started with one chocolate chip cookie, moved on to pancakes, and were now working their way through every comfort food tradition Earth had to offer. The psychological benefits are undeniable, Admiral Krieg continued. Productivity across the galaxy has actually increased, not despite the food breaks, but because of them. Species that haven't experienced joy in millennia are rediscovering creativity, cooperation, and social bonding through shared meals. Marco emerged from the kitchen carrying his latest creation, fusion dishes that combined Earth techniques with ingredients from visiting alien cultures. The Plutonians just taught me how to work with methane-based flavoring, he announced, and the results are actually incredible. Blorth, now permanently corporeal and wearing a chef's hat they'd knitted, themselves added, we're documenting everything, not just the nutritional impact, but the social, psychological, and cultural effects. Food is communication, food is art, food is love. The seasoning had established a corner of the Institute dedicated to what they called flavor meditation, where beings could explore taste as a form of consciousness. Expansion. Dr. Chun looked around at the unlikely community they'd created. Advanced civilizations that had spent thousands of years optimizing every aspect of existence were now gathering around tables, sharing stories and meals, remembering what it felt like to simply enjoy being alive. So what happens now? She asked, Zixtals. Chromatic display shifted to what Dr. Chun had learned was their expression of deep satisfaction. Now we teach the galaxy that the most sophisticated approach to nourishment isn't about perfection, it's about connection. We help other species remember that efficiency isn't everything, that sometimes the most primitive pleasures are actually the most advanced forms of civilization. Outside, the sun was setting over Earth, and in dining halls across 17-star systems, beings were gathering for dinner, not because they needed optimal nutrition, but because they wanted to share a moment of warmth and connection. The revolution had begun with an insult, but it had become something far more powerful. A reminder that the best recipes aren't just for food, they're for happiness. Asterisk.